Welcome everyone to the Tacticians Crown Regional Breakdown. This is the China edition featuring Tanner. Tanner, thank you for joining me.
Yeah, hello, I'm Tanner. I'm very pleased to be here to talk about my region and maybe wars and many things.
Absolutely. You are the expert when it comes to China TFT, specifically the PC version. And so I'm really excited to dive in talking about China, something that a lot of us across the pond in North America and the Americas, we don't get to see too much of it. So I want to start by talking about the region as a whole, and then we're going to really get into some of the specific players and your expectations for them going in. Does that sound good?
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. So, to get us started, what do you think is unique about China as a region, and how do you think that's going to stack up and compete against the other regions this year?
So China is a region with so many different players. So of course we'll have many different play styles, and very different plays can appear in tournaments, like in regionals, many different things. So I would say that the varieties of play styles is one of the biggest, like the shining point from CN region. And we've seen many different players like Lilo, like Xunge. They love to play late game, and Huan Mie, he likes to some high risk, high return things, and those are just different play styles. And um, due to the different formats between China and other regions, we still using like the checkmate format. We still using the format to encourage the first players to get more points. So they will be willing to risk to play some comps like triple prismatic portal. I believe that's not a thing that Western players will pick. Maybe the Gorem, like the Emblem Gorem, so many like those portals. So this is the thing that we're good at, and so we can adapt to many different things, and we can also play some normal portals like free champions. So yeah, I believe that in worlds in where like four main regions play against each other, we can like play well, and we can adapt very fast.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's like you guys like the little bit of craziness that TFT can bring.
Yeah.
You guys lean into that, which is pretty neat. How do you feel that China as a region, especially competitively, has evolved in the recent sets?
So I remember like China, uh, we didn't make into like the Fate Championship final, like none of our five players. And then at set five, Huang Mie won the world. That brought the first champion to CN, and then another championship won by Lilo and Xunge. But after that, we haven't won like the championship or the Tactician crowns. But we actually made into the final lobby, like without
Mm-hmm.
like we had Francie, we had many good players, Hong Lian, and then when it comes to like set six, that was the first set we had argument, right?
Mm-hmm.
Set six, and many of our players they didn't use stats, they didn't use data,
Mm.
so they just play on their favor, and they if they think this argument is great, they would pick that like a straightforward feeling, and that has been a very struggling point for our region because our players don't use data. But um, from the recent sets, I will say that most of the player will be willing to use them has become more frequent, and I can see like even players like Huan Mie, Tianlong, those players will be using stats very well, very well.
Mm.
But um, some of those players they maybe they use the stats, but they don't trust the stats like 100%, and they will have their own play style. And the typical person is Ahao, so he look up stat very much, but he will say, "This is not my play style. I'm not going to play anything in the B comp."
Mm.
So he will just to play his own thing, and that actually work out. So I'm actually curious to see if any players that have different feeling of things,
Yeah.
because I still remember like set six world championship, and there's an argument called store power. That's for the hextech trait, and Liuli played that line with Lucian, and that argument was very terrible. It's like it was like 4.6, but he won a game with that. So I believe that there's still a lot possibilities behind the scene, behind the stats.
Yeah, and it's actually interesting that you bring that up because I did an interview like this with Frodan, and he said one of the best parts and one of the strengths of the Americas is their use of stats. And so the fact that China is starting to use a little bit more of that is pretty scary for us, I imagine, here. And so that's good to hear. I have some questions more specifically about some of the players and representatives that China is sending. Who would you say are people that we need to be looking out for that necessarily aren't the biggest names, some underdogs?
Some underdogs. Okay, I'll give you a few names. So the first name is Archen. So apparently he's the champion of this regional, right? But before the regional start, we just make sure like Archen is very weak. He's not a great player of this set, and he has some very bad habits like not positioning well or not scouting frequently. But he has overcome all those like weakness or difficulties and has shown everyone that he can be the champion.
Hmm.
And he's the only one that played so many different lines in regional finals. Yeah, and after reviewing his game, we review his game with him and also review his game with our study group, many study groups. And we realized that he is the strongest player of the set of
Oh, wow.
CN. Yeah, and uh, the interesting thing is he was the TOC1 champion. TOC1 that was set 3 like 4 years ago, and that was a long time ago that he didn't like make a remarkable achievement, and this is his first time since a 4 year. Yeah,
Wow. That is
yeah,
that is a good story, and especially with winning China regional is not a small feat. So that obviously makes him someone that we should be looking out for.
yes.
So who would you say then, if Achen is your underdog, who would you say is some of the players that have the strongest chance of winning the Tactician's crown this time around?
Oh, so before we start talking this
Sure.
problem, let's talk about this question. Let's talk about like the patch. So I look at those screen results, and every lobby has like 6 real comps. So that would benefit a lot
Mm-hmm.
uh, to those who are very good at playing real comps. So I would say like Han Xing. Han Xing is one of the player that he played in esports World Cup, and he was a TFT player, and then he also played in mobile circuit, and he also played in the TFT circuit. So I would say he's one of the strongest. And he knows how to play real comp very well. And another one is Chu Qi. So Chu Qi was famous as playing like the 8-bit Raven, like many real lines, and he was like a degen.
Yeah.
Yeah, very strong real player. Yeah, so I would say these two players, Chu Qi and Han Xing, very good
So
at real comps.
yeah, those re-rollers are kind of your favorite going in, and I think
Yeah.
from our perspective over here in the Americas, we have some of our re-roll specialists as well with Milk and Spencer and some of those guys that. It's funny that the old guard seems to be coming back, right? You said set 3 is when Achen made it, and we are sending 3 of our representatives from set 5.5 back again, and so it's kind of the old days come around. And so
Yeah.
yeah, zooming out a little bit as we look at the rest of the world, how does the Chinese region view the other regions? Are there ones that are other regions or players that you see as threats?
I would say like from the last set where the 9 regions merge into 4 pan region, and the result was every good player, every very strong player, they had the chance to show up to appear in the world championship, right? And last set we didn't feel like anyone is pretty weak.
Hmm.
We feel that everyone is very strong, and it's same every set now because like those strongest players will just showed up in Tactician's crown. So I would say that all those world representative are very strong. and no matter what regions they come from. Yeah, and some players used to think that in each worlds, like in set 6 and set 7, there are some players they just sit at 32 place, 30 seconds place, and yeah, they're Indian. But for now, like everyone plays to win and
Yeah,
very determined to win.
absolutely. If you were to pick one player outside of China who you think is going to win Worlds, who would you choose?
Probably double 61. He
Yep.
was like the runner up from last champion, from last Tactician crown, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel he's very strong in this set as well. And he plays a lot of the global scrims even before the worlds started, even with like after the Tactician Cup 2, and he just he just really want to do those cross region scrims with like many familiar names, Binton, this soap, many good players
Yep.
in the group. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a popular choice of somebody that people are like, yeah, if double wins, we're not going to be surprised. And
Yeah.
so, Tanner, I really appreciate your expertise and helping us understand a little bit more about the players that are being sent from China and China as a region and their development. So, thank you for your time. I'm excited to watch Worlds and see how some of these players, some of these players perform.
Yeah, sure. I'm also very excited to see because we have the slot expanded 40 players. That's many
Yeah.
unknown things. Maybe let's just wait and see.
Absolutely. And we will just wait and see. So thank you for joining me. I appreciate your time on this final Tactician's Crown regional breakdown.
Thank you.